Greetings, YouTube. You know, you might be confused why I'm starting off a video where I talk about the best, and worst, good, bad, and the ugly, as I like to call it, 6-star Nexus with this, but I saw so many comments yesterday that were just flat out deceiving in an understatement kind of way. I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody. It's honestly, mathematically, it makes sense why people would comment, but we had a 6,000 unit offer for a 6-star Nexus crystal and 1,000,000 gold yesterday in the game. And people kept commenting, well, on July 4th, it was half that. Now, the one exception is if it's a unit-based offer, free-to-play players can technically get it for free as long as they hoard enough units that they can get without spending actual cash on the game. But outside of that, if you're having to buy units with cash through the unit store to acquire the 6,000 unit deal, you are getting so much worse of a value than July 4th. It wasn't half. In fact, technically, I think the 6-star Nexus by itself was free because Kabam literally says in these sometimes bi-monthly bonus unit offers where you get items thrown in that because you get the units that you normally get on any other day, all the items you get on top of the units are a throw-in, because you're still getting the same value as you would normally with the same price. So if you get 3,100 units for $100, United States, of course, plus tax, and depending on your country, the exchange rates, you're getting the offer. So the 6-star Nexus, the 1.5 Tier 5 Basic, and the 15% Tier 5 Class Catalyst Fragment Crystal, all of that was technically free versus what normally the price tag of an Odin is, because you're getting every single unit you normally get. So when people say, well, they were giving a 6-star Nexus for $100 on July 4th, that's not true. Technically, they were giving a 6-star Nexus out for free as a bonus gift when you purchased an Odin, plus all the rest. So compare that to yesterday, which was this. 6,000 units, almost double the price, though technically that's 6,200 units if you were to buy 2 Odins, and 1,000,000 gold. I said that obviously it was too big of a risk to go for, but some people would make me look stupid because of their luck. And some of you did. But some of you also reinforced why you should have maybe watched my video and watched my grade before you purchased it. So with that kind of long, but I think necessary intro to how I calculate grades, especially versus calculating what the value of something is on July 4th weekend, or most notably this coming month in November, Cyber Weekend, let's look at some Nexus crystals. Dark Armor got an Awakened Emma Frost, Awakened Elsa, or Awakened Electra. I think this is a fairly reasonable expectation for a better than average, though not spectacular, 6-star Nexus. Who would you go with in this case? I think Elsa might get the slight nod. I would personally go with Emma because I use her more, even though she doesn't need to be awakened. And Dark Armor indeed went with what I think the majority of the community would have said or will say, and that is Elsa Bloodstone. It's me for real. Daredevil's getting a buff, so that makes this a little bit more fascinating of a choice. Awakened Black Panther, Civil War, a guy who desperately needs a buff. Nope, not going to do that. And so Ghost becomes such an amazing last inclusion, and indeed he went with Ghost. So this is, I think, worth it to him. If he's a Ghost player and has been super thirsty for 6-star Ghost, I think that's worth the units. Now, how about Dimboy16? This guy got a couple of Nexus yesterday. Human Torch, Void, or Venom Pool. Talk about somebody who deserves a buff, right? Now, Void needs to be awakened. Human Torch doesn't. That, along with other very important reasons, are the reason why he went with Human Torch. And then Chaos 1000, Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Awakening White Mags, or OG Spider-Man, otherwise known in some cases as Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, depending on your definition of who the OG Spider-Man should be in your world. But Black Widow, Deadly Origin, I mean, come on, look at this. Chaos, there you go. It was literal chaos. And then Jamel Valentine is so ticked off that he did not record this, especially because, I mean, look, his alliance is called, what, Freaking Epic? So if it's freaking epic, you got to record your openings. I don't care if you're in bronze 1. Look at the very bottom. Let's just zoom in, shall we? We got the time. 6-star Doctor Doom from their 6-star Nexus Hero Crystal. That would actually be kind of a fun way to put a thumbnail in. Circle this up, put an arrow in it, maybe an emoji. I like to change up my thumbnails as much as possible just to make sure I'm not keeping them more stale than they need be. You know, thumbnail design is an underrated and important part of a YouTube channel that I don't think I talk about enough. But Jamel Valentine, sorry you didn't record it, but hey, you might actually make the thumbnail. V Fury or Furry, new Domino, Awakened an Omega Red or Awakened a Ghost. Now, this is also a thumbnail nominee because what are the odds that all three of these champions would be this level good? And Omega Red really does need to be awakened. Ghost benefits greatly from being awakened, though she doesn't need it. And Domino is a straight slayer by herself. So who would you choose in this case? I know I just talked about the thumbnail here, but I feel like if this is a thumbnail or this is a thumbnail, this is going to win every time. So this has kind of been bumped up now that I'm speaking out loud for the top thumbnail nominee. And of course, you know what the thumbnail is if you clicked on this video because you saw it. John Law, 3742. Action with Deadpool X-Force for the synergies over another 26 on his Captain America Infinity War or OG Captain Marvel. This is another good example of a better than average Nexus that has a different than expected twist. Cole Lives Matter. Ant-Man and Cable were certainly very disappointing to him, but Mojo saved it, and he went with Mojo. Tap Tout. Look at this. New Void, New Warlock, or Corvus Awakened. That would be so painful for me if I had been waiting to awaken my Corvus. I think the popular vote for here would be to pick Warlock. I would go with awakening my Corvus because I love my Warlock and Void, who are already SIG 200, 565, and I know I use a 6-star Corvus every day. But I could definitely be in the minority of that vote, and clearly I was with him as well because he went with Warlock, which I think is the safe choice, the logical choice. How about Jim Boys coming back with Omega Red, Corvus, and Drax? Who would you choose first between Omega and Corvus? Some people might choose Omega, but he needs to be awakened at a high SIG and to have the right mastery setup, ideally full suicides, and so Corvus Glaive doesn't need any of that, though Corvus does benefit from suicides, particularly getting that health back with willpower and bleed to start the fight. And yes, Dim Boys went with Corvus. I think that was the right choice. Kylo or Kilo 11, a century of disappointment with this one. I think I would have awakened Venom the Duck, but I mean, whatever. Civil War Century, Venom the Duck. This is kind of the ugly side of the Nexus submissions for sure. And then he also got a second Nexus crystal out of, I think, a 300-unit crystal. And this one, OG Black Panther, Awakening Kingpin, starting out Blob, but then Black Widow Clairvoyant saved this one for sure. And congratulations to also my friend Triumphant, who finally duplicated his 6-star Black Widow Clairvoyant yesterday. I was thankful to be updated with that opening. And there you have it, YouTube. Let's keep this under 10 minutes. Congrats to everybody who made it in. I'm sure there was a lot more ugly submissions that didn't make it. By the way, if you open a Nexus and it doesn't turn out well, that's just as valuable to me for data as if you hit the lottery and all three champions are incredible. So just keep that in mind for Cyber Weekend, where I definitely anticipate that there will be a ton of 6-star Nexus open depending on your progression level. Also another encouragement to try to progress as much as possible. I do think there should be a Thronebreaker progression level. It just makes sense. That might also be why Kabam randomly dropped it on us in the last month. Have a good day, YouTube, and thanks again to everybody who submitted their screenshots and or videos for the crystal opening compilation.